So imagine we had now just a 3-chord tune. Let's say it was just G, the 1 chord, the 4 chord, 5, and the 1. Now what I did for you there was just use the ideas from one form on each of the changes. Just a few ideas. Now, it's not the most practical way to play if you're constantly just using one form, so that's where I stress the use of the joining the forms together. It means now instead of moving to C here, I could have stayed here or here. And for the D, I could have used ideas on that, there, or here. Let me play the same thing again for you, only using different forms. See the ideas there? Again, I would stress you to experiment. The pentatonic scale is great for the double stops and also for the single note lines that for your solos they can be used. Each note will have its own quality, but generally they're no bad notes. Now we'll move on and we'll have a look at some of the ideas then, similar to this but on the minor chords, and then we can put them all together. We've looked at the dominant, the major, and some ideas now on the minor. And you can see you can start injecting these into your songs right away. So for the minor again, here we have, we'll give the example in G. And we'll use a scale that we're familiar with now would be the minor pentatonic, or with the added flat 5 we've got the blues scale. So our favourite scale would be either the blues note in or without the blues note. Again, notice the easy pattern in the middle. Rectangle on the top. Square. Stretch. So, we can have our chord. Let's look at a few of the notes, how they would sound double stops. All straight lines here. Okay, listen. Let me just show you one of my favorite ideas here. It's a pedal note on the top, the root note, and we'll just walk down the scale, just hear the sound. And what I was doing there, just holding the high G and hearing everything else. I'll just play a few lines from that idea for you. Again, next logical step, learn the next form up. Let's go through that one. I'll just give you the fingering for it. 8th fret first, 6th fret, 8th fret, 6th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 8th fret, 5th fret, 8th fret, 5th fret, 8th fret, 6th fret, and down, home. Okay. Now there's a thing here that you may have spotted or you may not, that if I just talk, it should save you quite a lot of time in learning these scales. The pattern that I just played, we've already looked at, but we looked at it as a major. So at this point I'll give you a little bit of theory. Every major chord has got a relative minor. Now, without going too deep into the theory of it at the moment, it's suffice that you can place the relative minor. Now, the relative minor will always be positioned 1.5 tones below the major chord. So if I had a, let's say, a C major chord, the relative minor would be A, down 1.5 steps. If I had a D major chord, the relative minor would be B. Again, this distance of 1.5 frets. Here's one for you now. What is the relative minor of A major? You got it? F sharp. What is the relative minor of B flat major? G minor. So the lesson to be learned here is that the major pentatonic is exactly the same as the relative minor pentatonic, only 1.5 steps down. In other words, B flat major pentatonic is exactly the same as G minor pentatonic. And if I just put a G minor chord in this area, you can see that it's, there's our B flat major, there's our, and the pattern, you can hear the sound. All we simply do is we resolve it to the root of the minor chord. It should save you a bit of time. In other words, with one set of major pentatonics, basically you've got all your minor pentatonics already learnt. And with the addition of one note to those, that would be all your blues scales. So instead of learning 15 patterns, learn 5 and learn the connection between the relative minor. Now, let's get back to our G minor chord. And I'm going to take some of the double stops now from this position of the scale. Again, we've done all these previously with them. So, I'll set a groove with just the minor chord. Yeah, and a whole host of ideas you can get from that. Now let's put some of it into maybe just a 3 or 4 chord song using major chords, minors and dominants. It'll give you an idea of how these things can add to your chordal playing. Let's say we'll go G, the 1 chord. There's our A minor. There's our 4 chord C. There's our 5 chord D. So we didn't once strum the chords. We had additives. That can be done, that approach can be done with any chord progression you could think of. And again, as we said earlier, you'll probably overuse them slightly until you get used to them, and then you can be more selective. So you've got your double stops, the dominant ones, you've your major ones with that added fourth, and you've your minor ones. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson and it's given you some ideas, and at some future point we may go back on that and in more depth, but hopefully that'll get you started. Thank you.